What if 25,000 Iraqi dinar could suddenly turn into 142,000 US dollars? That's the kind of headline grabbing attention across social media right now, and for many people following the Iraqi dinar, it sounds like the moment they've been waiting for. But before anyone gets carried away with excitement, it's important to stop and really think about what this claim actually means. Could a single banknote truly skyrocket in value like that overnight? Or is this another example of misinformation, spreading quickly in the world of currency speculation? Today, we're going to break it all down in a clear and realistic way so you can understand what's fact, what's fiction, and what really matters for Iraqi dinar watchers in 2026. Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Brief, your go-to source for simple, reliable, and honest updates on the Iraqi dinar, Forex developments, and Iraq's economic progress. On this channel, we don't chase hype or unrealistic promises. Instead, we focus on facts, real data, and practical insights that help you make better decisions. In this video, we're taking a closer look at one of the biggest rumors currently circulating: the idea that 25,000 IQD could soon be worth $142,000. We'll explore where this claim comes from, whether it holds any economic truth, and what current developments in Iraq actually suggest about the future of the dinar. Let's start by understanding the numbers behind this viral claim. If 25,000 Iraqi dinar were equal to $142,000, that would mean the exchange rate is around 5.68 per dinar. That's an extremely high value. In fact, it would place the Iraqi dinar among the strongest currencies in the entire world. To put that into perspective, major global currencies like the US dollar, the euro, and the British pound are backed by large, diversified, and stable economies. Even among oil-rich nations, currencies do not typically reach such high levels without very specific economic structures, such as low money supply and strong financial systems. So right away, this claim raises serious questions. Now let's compare that with reality. As of now, the Iraqi dinar trades at approximately 1,300 dinars per US dollar in the official exchange rate. This rate is managed by Iraq's central bank and reflects the country's current economic conditions. Even in the parallel market, where rates can sometimes differ slightly, there is no indication of anything close to a dramatic shift toward a 5+ valuation. For such a massive change to happen, Iraq would need to undergo a complete transformation of its financial system almost overnight. That includes reducing the money supply drastically, stabilizing inflation long-term, eliminating corruption at scale, and achieving a level of economic diversification that currently does not exist. Another key factor to consider is the concept of a revaluation, often referred to as an RV. In theory, a currency revaluation is when a government officially increases the value of its currency relative to others. However, in real-world economics, revaluations are usually modest and carefully controlled. They are not sudden jumps from fractions of a cent to multiple dollars. There is also no credible evidence from Iraq's central bank or international financial institutions that such a revaluation is planned at this scale. In fact, most official statements emphasize stability, gradual reform, and maintaining confidence in the current system rather than dramatic overnight changes. So where do these rumors come from? In many cases, they originate from misinterpretations, speculation, or intentionally exaggerated claims designed to attract attention. Social media. Platforms and online forums can amplify these ideas quickly, especially when they tap into people's hopes of financial gain. Unfortunately, once a rumor gains momentum, it becomes difficult to separate fact from fiction, and many viewers end up confused or misled. That doesn't mean nothing is happening in Iraq's economy. In fact, there are real developments worth paying attention to. Iraq has been working on improving its banking system, increasing transparency, and strengthening its financial infrastructure. There have also been efforts to stabilize the exchange rate and reduce the gap between official and market rates. These are positive steps, but they are gradual and part of a long-term process. They do not point toward an immediate or extreme revaluation like the one being claimed in viral posts. It's also important to understand the difference between redenomination and revaluation. A redenomination is when a country changes the face value of its currency, often by removing zeros. For example, 25,000 dinars could become 25 new dinars, but the actual purchasing power remains the same. This is done to simplify transactions and improve currency usability, not to create sudden wealth. Many people confuse this with revaluation, which leads to unrealistic expectations. Now let's talk about what this means for viewers and investors. If you're holding Iraqi dinar or thinking about it, the most important thing is to stay grounded in reality. Avoid making decisions based on viral claims or emotional reactions. Instead, focus on verified information from reliable sources. Understand that currency markets are influenced by complex factors, including economic performance, political stability, and global trade. There are no shortcuts or guaranteed windfalls. At the same time, keeping an eye on Iraq's progress is still worthwhile. The country has significant oil resources and potential for economic growth. Reforms in the financial sector, if sustained, could lead to a stronger and more stable currency over time. But this kind of growth happens gradually, not overnight, and certainly not at the extreme levels suggested by rumors like 25,000 IQD equals $142,000. In conclusion, the viral claim we discussed today does not hold up under careful analysis. While it may sound exciting, it is not supported by economic reality, official data, or credible sources. The Iraqi dinar is not currently anywhere near a value that would make such a conversion possible, and there is no confirmed plan for a massive revaluation in 2026. What we do see, however, is a country working step by step toward financial stability, and that's where the real story lies. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Iraqi Dinar Brief, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. Also, share your thoughts in the comments. What have you been hearing about the dinar lately? Let's keep the conversation informed and realistic. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next update. As we continue this discussion, it's also important to look at how global financial systems actually work, because this helps explain why extreme claims like this don't hold up. Currencies are not just numbers that governments can suddenly change to any value they want. They are tied to a country's economic output, its reserves, its debt levels, and the confidence of international markets. If Iraq were to suddenly revalue its currency to over $5 per dinar, it would create massive imbalances. For example, Iraq's exports, especially oil, would become extremely expensive on the global market, making it less competitive. At the same time, the government would face enormous pressure to support that value with real economic strength, which would be very difficult to sustain. Another angle to consider is the total money supply of the Iraqi dinar. There are trillions of dinars in circulation. If each dinar were suddenly worth multiple US dollars, the total value of the currency would skyrocket into levels far beyond Iraq's entire economic output. This creates a mismatch that simply doesn't work in real-world economics. Central banks carefully manage currency values to avoid exactly this kind of instability. That's why any changes to exchange rates are usually gradual and based on measurable improvements in the economy. We should also address a common belief that large-scale secret exchanges or private rates are already happening behind the scenes. These ideas often circulate in online communities, suggesting that certain groups are already exchanging dinar at extremely high rates. However, there is no verified evidence from credible financial institutions to support these claims. Major banks, international organizations, and regulatory bodies operate under strict transparency rules. A global currency shift of this magnitude could not happen quietly without affecting markets, news outlets, and official financial data. What's more realistic is that Iraq continues its path of economic reform. In recent years, there has been progress in digital banking, efforts to reduce reliance on cash, and attempts to improve compliance with international financial standards. These steps are important because they build trust with global investors and institutions. Over time, increased trust can lead to a stronger currency. But again, this is a long-term process, not a sudden overnight event. For viewers, the key takeaway is to stay informed and cautious. It's easy to get caught up in exciting headlines, especially when they promise life-changing financial gains. But the best approach is always to ask, does this make sense economically? Is there confirmation from official sources, and does the data support the claim? If the answer to these questions is no, then it's likely just another rumor. Moving forward, keep your focus on real indicators. Things like Iraq's oil revenue trends, inflation rates, central bank policies, and international partnerships. These are the factors that truly influence the value of a currency. By understanding them, you'll be in a much stronger position to separate fact from fiction and make informed decisions. And remember, the goal isn't just to chase a big payout. It's to build a clear understanding of how the market works so you can navigate it wisely. That's what we aim to help you do here on Iraqi Dinar Brief, bringing you straightforward, reliable updates without the noise or exaggeration. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of many others who rely only on headlines. Stay patient, stay informed, and keep learning.